Corey, welcome to Berlin, welcome to Scale. It's amazing to have you here. How was your first hours in Berlin?
Oh, it was awesome. I was really excited to kick off the show this morning, wake everybody up and talk about failure.
Yeah, and that's a very, very impressive point that you had, the failure, because I believe, especially from a German point of view, sometimes this happens where the Germans are struggling with failure, but you're saying failure is a very key point in order to drive innovation.
Failure is absolutely the key point to drive innovation. In my time in Silicon Valley, that's the one thing that I've learned is that if you want to build a culture of innovation, you have to ask yourself, what does failure look like in my organization? And so if failure is something that everybody's afraid of, you're not going to be innovative. If failure is something that is embraced, especially by the most powerful people in the room, as a way to quickly learn in order to actually figure out something innovative, then you're actually successful. But don't worry, it's not. I know that's a tough concept in Germany. It's also a tough concept in the United States. It's actually a tough concept almost anywhere outside of Silicon Valley. And what I've learned is that you can actually learn how to embrace failure through experiential learning.
Perfect, yeah, and that was, I can say, really impressive how you did it. I by myself, I'm German, but I used to work in the States and I'm very internationally connected, but I also have the feeling it's a topic everywhere to be afraid of failure, yeah. But that's why I asked, when I came back to Germany after a couple of years in the Middle East, I figured out, yes, in Germany it's very special, say it this way. But I don't want to, what would interest me, how can you help decision makers to create such a culture of failure?
To help leaders within an organization create a culture, what I call a culture of experimentation, which embraces failure, I think you need to do three things. One is it's all about betting on people, not ideas, right? Number two, you actually need to build culture actively, and I think you can do that through experiential learning. At Matter, we run a design thinking boot camp the first day anybody walks into the door, and that sets a solid foundation for the culture going forward. And then number three, something that I think is most unique about what we do, is you have to build into your processes and your culture a regular space for your team to fail fast. And you have to make that a safe space. And we do that through something we call a design review, where teams pitch and get feedback from a room way before they're ready. They get feedback when we know they're going to fail, months before they actually have to launch on their demo day.
So failing fast, you say, is a key to be successful?
Failing fast is absolutely the key to being successful.
And as far as I understood you as well, we're going through a big shift right now with also methods like design thinking, where we're building on empathy to build to customers in the end. And what do you think we're standing right now in terms of that shift, that paradigm shift to more think of the customer than in terms of, hey, we're pushing someone to do something?
Oh, absolutely. I think, what we teach a lot is design thinking process, which I think is also a key to innovation. And at the heart of design thinking is empathy. It's about being user-centered and being prototype-driven. And honestly, I don't know if it's a shift necessarily in the world. I think if you actually look back, like, those who have been successful are the ones who actually meet a real customer need. If you're not actually meeting a real customer need, then what are you doing, right? I think the shift is we've actually deconstructed and learned that creative processes can actually be structured, and at the heart of that is actively seeking empathy from your customers rather than having that happen by chance.
So a lot has to do that you give a frame where it makes sense to use such methods as empathy and design thinking, and thereby give it a direction.
Absolutely. And if you set if you set being human-centered as a value within your culture, that changes a lot of things. It changes how meetings go, right? When somebody is pitching something in a business meeting, after they've gone through our program, the questions change. They ask, so who exactly is this customer? Have you tested it? Can we see photos of the customer or video of you testing it with them, right? And that doesn't happen in a lot of business meetings, but once you have that shift, it's actually impossible to go backwards.
Thank you so much, Corey. It's a real pleasure to have you here.